Okay, a few housekeeping things before we start this analysis. I need to start with the fact that I am about 6 months away from being a professional analyst, which means that I will not be doing a professional reading at this particular moment. So if this person ever was asked, have you ever gotten a professional foundation reading? The answer is no. What I'm going to be doing here today is an overview. We're going to be talking about something that's very, very important. And what is it? It is to understand how this person, my bestie, says their yes and no based on who they are as a person. Okay, we're going to go back a little bit here. There's a million things that I want to say at the same time. So why do we want to talk about understanding our yes and no? Well, flat out, let's just get straight to the point. If we understand how our yes and no works, then every time we allow our yes and no to flow through us, and then we follow that yes or no. So let's just say we've responded and we followed that then we are allowing our purpose to flow through us. Let's just say our body said well, if we follow that then we are allowing our purpose to flow through us. So once again, if you understand your body's mechanism, its strategy and authority of understanding how to say your yes and no, then you will allow your purpose to flow through you. And why is this awesome? It's because then we don't have to get our brains involved. We don't have to think I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I have to, I need to, I want to. You know, our energy gives us a response, and it tells us if we have the life force energy to partake or not. Chemical is just being quite interesting right now. She doesn't know what she wants. So there's going to be a few things that we focus on today. There are multiple different readings a person can get, but we really need to understand how your energy works in order for us to go through and do any further analysis of your energy. We need the foundation before we can go any further. The most important thing about understanding human design is your strategy and authority. Strategy and authority. This is your yes and no response mechanism. This is particularly for this person that I'm talking to on the screen, my bestie. This is how this person works. Just because 70% of the world is here to respond, we all respond differently. But I just want to, okay, there's so much to say all at once. Once again, the most important thing to understand is that you are here to understand your choice mechanism, your strategy and authority, which is your yes and no, your body's yes and no, or I like to call it the choice mechanism. Your strategy and authority equals your choice mechanism. So this is how your body makes choices in life. And I'm going to emphasize that about 17 more times in this experience here today because it's that important. There are multiple things that we could talk about today, like I was saying earlier. But let's get grounded into the chart a little bit. We are going to be talking about this beautiful image here in the center. We're going to ground you into the chart just by noticing some things, some interesting things. And just imagine if we're doing an overview right now, how deep this could really go based on this little, let's get familiar with the chart experience. So we can see that there are the sun, moon, earth, nodes, and planets. Each one of these has its own energy that's shining out into the world. So just say this 37.4 was down here. But if it was actually up here, it would mean something completely different because it was with the sun. So I know it's going a little, okay. I need to stop and say that we right now are just going through some brain candy stuff so that you're not so distracted later when I'm trying to get down to like the nitty gritty details. We're going to let our brains be a little bit curious right now, and then we'll be more serious a little bit later. So this is our personality side, what our brain thinks we're doing, and this is our design side, what our body is moving towards. And it's kind of like the brain doesn't really understand the body's there, and the body doesn't really understand the brain's there. So it's kind of like we are moving here together in the center as one energy, but they don't really recognize that the other exists. So, you know, your body thinks that you're doing this, and your brain thinks that you're doing this. So imagine you're running around in life thinking that only this is you. Because let's just talk about it on the scientific side. People say that we only have access to 5% of our conscious self. Well, let's think about that for a second. If we're running around and only 5% of ourselves is being, externalized, then what about the other 95%? We think that 5% of our, what we have access of our consciousness is 100% of who we are, but it's not. We have the body, but then we have it all coming together. So it's just interesting to understand that we finally have the blueprints to understand all of us together as one. What's also interesting is that, let's just talk about how unique you really are. Let's look at this 21-3. This 21-3 actually really looks like 21-3.2.4.6. There is a few more numbers that go beyond this. It's just like an IP address. So when you look at an IP address, it's very unique, very differentiating. Look at this. You have 13 unique IP addresses right here. You have 13 unique ones over here. Each one has a way of 1,080 different ways to express itself. 1,080 ways to express itself. You are so unique. You are so differentiated. There is no one out here in the world exactly like you. You're so unique. Some other things that we can look at here that might distract us before we get into the main bits of information is the fact that we have some white centers here and we have some defined centers here, or colored in centers. I know that that's one of the first things that I noticed when I looked at the chart was this whole gray area and all of the centers. I really didn't see the lines until later. But what I want to tell you about this, friendo, is that what is colored inside your chart is who you are. So what is defined here in your chart is who you are as a person. This is you, all of it. And the white parts in your chart is a place where you can play, have fun with, but not identify with because it's not you. So let's just talk about that again. Colored is you, uncolored is not you. So the thing is that you are perfect the way you are. The brain, the pesky old brain, the mind, has its problems. And it thinks that all of the white pieces in the chart is what's possibly wrong with you. It's not true. That's just what our brain is thinking. Oh, well, why would I want to be anything that is defined in my chart? That's boring. I want to be all the white parts in my chart because, you know, I'm it's not who I am. I feel a little bit insecure because it doesn't have fixed energy and I can't express myself in a fixed way here, and I have to be certain that I can prove that I know that these are parts of who I am too. So we kind of call that the not self, is when the brain is trying to make what is not colored in our chart. It's trying to pretend like it is. So we don't want that. We want to know who we are. We don't want to spend time in these white parts or undefined parts in our chart trying to think that that's who we are, because it's not. We can play with it. We can, this is wide open. It's like a playground. You know, um, you don't have to stick to one idea. You don't have to identify with it. It's it's not you. You are the colored parts of your chart. Your brain likes to think that the white parts in your chart are the places where you're broken. But once again, this is not true. The way you're made up is perfect. Nobody is going to have everything defined. It's maybe why we have a conundrum in life, is why we always feel like we're searching for something, is because there are parts of us that are undefined, and we're just trying to make our way back to feeling whole again. Our brain thinking that the white parts in our chart is what's wrong with us really does create a conundrum inside of our experience in life. And I will talk about that, but I want to give you guys a jargon term. When our brain tries to perform these tasks here because it feels like it has to, or it should, then we call that the not self. Trying to be something that we're not. We can describe this in many different ways. Let's talk about it. When we are born into a society, a race, a gender. We have poverty or rich stuck to our back, or, middle class. We are expected by society to be conditioned enough so that we can be so homogenized that we have to all learn the same things in school. When we get to be adults, we're like, yeah, we're free, but are we? We have to follow rules. Our bosses expect us to be a certain way. Customers expect us to put on that fake smile. We are consistently changing ourselves to adapt to the things that are around us. And this here is reminding you of who you really are. Sometimes trauma changes us. Our authoritative figures expect us to be a certain way as we live under their roof. Maybe we were humiliated in front of our friends and we're like, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to do that again, even though I love it. So I will not be humiliated in front of my friends. So we vow to ourselves we'll never do it again. So those are different expressions of not self. Being conditioned to be something that we're not. The list could go on, but I'm sure we already all resonate with some of those ideas of why we've changed ourselves. So this, once again, human design is here to bring you back to who you are, remind you of who you are, so that you can make correct choices for you. Let us now go into some deep information. We are switching gears. We are going to be talking specifically about this person's energy. Up until this point, all we've talked about is how unique you are and why the system is awesome. This person, Besty is a generator. This is what makes them a generator, and they are here to respond. So, as a generator, all generators are here to respond. And it is with your sacral that you are responding. So, my friend, you have a very clear way of understanding how you say yes or no. Because you're a generator, you are here to respond. You were gifted with these beautiful sounds like uh-huh and uh-uh. You know those guttural sounds babies make when they're excited, like hoo, or if they don't like something, they're like eh. Excuse me. You also have these sounds of uh-huh and uh-uh. Now, understanding you as a friend, I just tried to hear if I remember you saying like uh-huh or uh-uh, and boys, do I ever hear you saying it. I wonder if you feel if you are connected with that uh-huh, uh-uh, or if you heal it. Because I just hear you going like uh-uh. So, generator, here to respond because your inner authority is sacral. This is the most important information that you can have out of all of your human design. We're going to be talking about what a response is more deeply. We'll get into it. But I just want to say once again, why is it important to understand your yes and no, or your uh-huh or uh-uh? It's because you are going to be able to decondition away all of the crap in life that isn't right for you. And you'll be able to understand that you're making the proper choices in life. And by making the proper choices in life for your energy, you are automatically going to allow your incarnation cross, your purpose, to flow through you. So yes, your purpose in life is the incarnation cross, the right angle cross of tension. We're not even going to talk about that today. Why? Because if you just say your uh-huh and uh-uh, it's automatically going to flow through you without you understanding what the brain candy of that means. So, uh-huh and uh-uh. But what about the words I don't know? So you'll find your energy saying things like or Those are the beautiful, gifted, guttural sounds that generators have. Or exactly. It could be a wide variety of expressions. Now, the only thing that is running through my brain right now is your laugh. Because when something's funny to you, your throat is wide open, and even you say, my love, I don't know what I'm going to say until it pops out of my mouth. Well, that's where it comes from. And your response is instantaneous because this is the instantaneous center. These are actually not chakras. These are called centers within the human design system. We are evolving from a 7-centered being to a 9-centered being. So, yeah, all I can hear out of you is that ha, or like that ah, like that's obviously not your freaking laugh because you're way crazier. But like, to me, that's the response in the moment for you. Is that like those vocal sounds that you make to whatever you're responding to in the moment. Now, what's important to know is that you are not here to respond to like internal cues like from your brain. Like, hey, myself, do I feel like cleaning the house upside down today? No, that's not a response for you. what a response actually is it can be internal, but it's not from the brain. So let's just say your belly is gurgling and you're like, oh God, I haven't eaten in 6 hours. So you make your way towards the fridge, right? Because your body gave you a cue, something to respond to. Or maybe your stomach's gurgling for another reason. You had too much coffee and now it's going out the rear end, and you respond to, your gut's feeling tight and you gotta go release it. Yes, this is how I talk to my besties. So what is the response? Let me give you some examples. A response is, let's just saying that you are laying down in bed. She's a brand new mommy, a year and 3 or 4 months old now, Babes is. And okay, so you're laying in bed and you fall asleep and you wake up. What did you respond to? Did you respond to your babes crying? Did you respond to actually having enough rest? That's never going to happen. You're a new mom. Did you respond to your cats like fighting with each other in the front room? Did you respond to Mama Bear walking around your house and she clinked something and it fell over? Like, why did your eyes open? Do you have to pee because your body told you so? So, your body responded to something. Why did your eyes open? So then you have something to respond to next. What is it? Are you gonna literally fall back to sleep because you're tired? Is the babe still crying, so you respond to getting up? What is it that you respond to next? So, since it's 8 degrees out right now, it's a little bit chilly willy when we get out of the bed. So your body instantaneously responds to, I need a sweater, I need a house coat. So you respond to walking over and putting on your house coat before you go check on the babes that is crying. So as you can see, that these are all different responses that you're getting cued by, I guess you could say. Your eyes opening, was it an external cue? Did you have to go pee? It seems like you being cold was an internal cue, but it was from the exterior anyways. Your body was getting cold, so it wanted something to warm up with. So it's all a response. When we're talking about a response as well, it doesn't even have to be anybody doing anything to you. It could be something in the environment. So for example, my cats go to the cat litter. I was thinking about being funny with this. But yeah, my cats go to the cat litter, and within like a minute and a half, I can surely smell the poop bubbles, the poop bubbles inside the air. Oh my God. Let's try that again. When my cat goes to the cat litter, about a couple minutes later, I can smell the poop bubbles going through the air. And I surely respond to getting my ass up and walking to the cat litter and cleaning it, because I don't want to be munching on poop bubbles in the air for the remainder of the day. So, it can be an external, it can be something external that is cueing you that kind of has nothing really to do with you. So, I think we kind of understand what a response is. Now, the thing is that I live alone with my man and 2 cats. We live kind of in the boonies, right? So what is there to respond to? Like, who's gonna cue me to do the things that I need to do? So I've found kind of like a cheat for the system. Anything that I respond to, I write down. Ooh, I like this shiny thing, I'm gonna write it down. So like, I have lists upon lists around my house. There's lists on my wall, there's lists on my computer, there's whatever. So, maybe I feel like I have a little bit of energy and I respond to wanting to get something done. So I go through list number 1. Fuck that. List number 2. Oh, I kind of like that one, but not really responding. So I go to list number 3, nothing. List number 4. Oh, yes, I really can do that today. So like, I'm getting my external cue from a list that I've created based on something that I've already responded to. Yeah, so once again, when we're talking about human design is bringing us back to who we really are and understanding our unique and individual and differentiated self so that our choice mechanism can throw out a proper choice for your energy. Every time that you follow that proper choice for your energy, you are allowing your purpose to flow through you. So you don't even have to get your brain involved regarding what your purpose is. If as long as you are following your and and moving through it, you are going to allow your purpose to flow through you without getting your brain involved. So human design is really about deconditioning away what is not us so that we can really understand who we really are. So one of the things about this though, my love, Besty, is that right here, we notice that although this makes you a generator here, you have a connection directly to your spleen. Now, what's interesting about the spleen, this splenic center, is that this is this center of being instantaneous. It's your intuitive center. It's your I understand if things are healthy for me or not center. Now, you notice that you have direct access to this instantaneous energy. You might not consciously understand that, but you do have access to this instantaneous energy. Now, I want to talk about this for a minute because it's quite similar to my energy. I have access to instantaneous energy as well. Now, you're instantaneous, I'm instantaneous. That's actually something that we need to keep in mind, Bestie, because over half of the world is not instantaneous immediately. And then there's just different ways of how people cannot be instantaneous in their chart. So we have access to that instantaneous energy. But what's interesting about this, I'm going into brain candy first and then I'll go into like actual like using it for your benefit. People feel very safe around us when we're like, yeah, we're going to go do that instantaneously because our body understands and has responded into the moment regarding our safety. We are good. You and I, we are good being risk takers and being instantaneous. But the thing is that people around us who don't have this energy, which could be our other bestie that we have in our chat group, they don't have access to this instantaneous energy. They need to be super clear and pondering about their energy before they jump into something. So it could be detrimental to the people around us not understanding this. So, you know, when people are in our aura, they feel safe. They feel like they want to take risks because of our aura. So, you know, what's safe for us may not be safe for the other. For example, me jumping into a white unmarked van with no windows in Chinatown in New York City was safe to me. But it wasn't necessarily safe to my aunt or my cousin who was with me. So this is something that's really interesting to understand. And when we get to your daughter's analysis, you'll notice that she doesn't have any definition here. So you almost have all definition here. And she has no definition here. So she must feel very cozy around you, and when you leave her aura or vice versa, you guys, or she would definitely feel that. But there's more ways we can talk about that in the future, and we will. So let's talk about the actual jargon of this instead of the brain candy of why I brought our information over here to this center. So over here, like I said, you have access to this. So, I'll explain it from my awareness of this. So, this is like your base primal awareness of who you are as a person. So, your safety, the things that you need in life. And um, if we kind of break it down, we'll notice that this is the body's knowledge of it and this is the brain's knowledge of it. So, the brain kind of has some access of what we are intuitively access to in the moment, but then we have some energy here that the body, we're not really conscious about this stuff. Our body just does it. So, this is what the body is thinking about our safety in the moment. So it's kind of like half what our brain and our body's doing about your safety in the moment. So the way that I like to explain this is that when I go and touch my lips, I'm checking to see if my lips are dry, and then I start picking at the dry parts on my lip. It's like anxiety picking. But there's got to be a reason why my hand went up to my lips to check to see if it was dry. My body is checking to see if I'm hydrated. So anytime my body moves towards my lips, I make sure that I always take a drink after. So what's also interesting about this is that, let's just say you're like, I gotta go pee. That's what you're responding to. But before you pee, you find yourself redirecting yourself into the fridge and randomly grabbing something out of the fridge, and you just start eating it. And you're like, oh shit, I actually have to pee. But that's the thing, is that your body was naturally redirecting you to where you needed to go before you like consciously even recognize that you were doing it. So this could be like, hey Besty, do you want to go to the store? And you're like, you're already getting up and out of your seat before your brain is like, uh-huh. So that's what we're talking about, is that your body is already moving towards the answers for you. So I would keep an eye on that. I would keep an eye on your instantaneous movements in the moment, because they're not going to happen again, and they're actually very safe for you. It will keep you healthy wherever your body is moving you towards. You should probably listen to it, because it is said that within the human design family that if you don't listen to your spleen, it's going to be detrimental to you. Whereas you have direct access to it, you should definitely be listening to it. It's moving you in a very healthy way. And you will also find your body like wincing away from things that aren't healthy for you. So although your strategy and authority all has to do with uh-huh and I kind of like to tell people who have this kind of little hookup is that you also do have access to the instantaneous knowledge in the moment regarding your spleen, which is where your body's moving. So I don't know, maybe you and I could talk about it more in the background, because we are besties, and we can talk about like some of the things that you do, like you giving me examples. But yeah, we could talk about that. So let's reiterate why this is so important to know. As a generator, you're here to respond. You're going to use your sacral in order to do so. So that's the uh-huh or or the And if you allow your purpose to flow through you, and by following that purpose, by, doing that uh-huh or when it pops up, you are allowing your purpose to flow through you. So we don't have to get our brains involved. We don't have to get, the shoulda, coulda, I want to, what do I have to do next in order for my purpose to be fulfilled? You don't got to do anything except for follow your uh-huh and and your purpose, your incarnation cross, will automatically be flowing through you. So it's very, very important, if you want to go through life making choices that are proper for you. This is the way you got to do it. These choices may not be proper for the other, but that's not what it's about. It's about you, right? This is about your energy. This is not about what others expect from you. And a lot of people expect a lot of things from you. What's actually interesting, okay, I'm going to cut this off here and we're going to go into one more segment of brain candy. Okay. We were just talking about what people expect from you. People expect a lot from you, and I'm specifically pointing my fingers at your mom. For those of you who are watching currently right now, my bestie here has two parents who are in the deaf community, and the parents, the mom does call upon my bestie a lot for things. So, when we're talking about your profile, it's quite interesting because a profile is who you are on the stage of life. So if we were to, have a Broadway, this is the character that you would play. This is how people would see you. What's interesting is that if we are living our life not according to our strategy and authority, so let's just say your body said, do it. And you're like, I'm scared. I'm not going to do it. That is doing the opposite of what your body is telling you to do. And so that's a not self, if you don't follow what your body tells you to do, that's the not self expression. So we can find ourselves not self. I'm not self. Everyone's not self. So if we find ourselves on the stage of life, I'm going to change myself because of this. This person wants this from me. I was raised this way, so I'm going to be this way. That's not us. That's not who we are. So the character that we play on the stage of life, this is who we are. And if we are following our yes and no, we are going to shine through as this character. But if not, we can see it like this. Imagine that you are a 6'5" person on this stage of life and you were given the costume of a person who's 4'9". Imagine trying to put on that 4'9" costume if you're 6'5". It's going to be very uncomfortable, and that's what it's going to feel like. And I felt this way, like my whole life. I felt very uncomfortable who I was, where I was, who I was with on the stage of life until I started saying my yes and no. And somewhere along the line, I found a way to love myself because I finally was being me on the stage of life. I didn't feel uncomfortable in my body anymore. And this was at like 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. I finally found a way to love myself because I finally felt comfortable inside, my costume that I was playing in life. So when we're talking about this, your profile here, you're here to you're here to trial and error things. You're here to experiment and break things. You're here to bump into things. Now, some people think that that's a detriment, like that's so bad. But no, actually, the thing is that with your profile, bestie, we need people like you. The first half of my life was this bumping into and this trial and error as well. So, we can, like I was saying, that we need these people in life, these people who bump into things and trial and error things. They break it, they fix it, they glue it back together, they try it again. These are these people that are here to make mistakes. Now, and it's for the benefit of all of the collective, because without a proper foundation or a solid foundation in life, nothing will work. Imagine building a pyramid upside down. What's that going to do for us, right? So the profile that this bestie here carries in life is to trial and error and bump into things. These people are resilient. Now, the thing is that people, this is a not self-expression of other people looking into my bestie. What's wrong with you? Of course you're fucking shit up again. It's you. So I wonder if she has ever had that happen. What a person should be saying is, oh, I wondered what happened with this process. I wonder how we can make it better. That's what should really be said to these kinds of profiles, instead of, you're wrong, you're always breaking shit. No, it's not correct. You know, oh, look at what you found. Look at the awesome that you have discovered so that next time it will be better. So the thing is that the other half of your profile is that you're here to be the martyr. This is I like to make a very exaggerated expression of what it is like to be a 5, because it's not really exaggerated at all. So as a 5, a person comes into the world. So you are a 5, so let's just say that it's not you that we're talking about. Let's just say it's a person that we're talking about that's a 5. You're born brand new, right out of the womb, and you start to cry because you're a freaking baby. That's what babies do. And then everybody around you's like, ugh, this person isn't the savior that we thought it was. It's crying. It's shitting. It's puking. Ew. What kind of savior is this? Ugh, you're awful. So I know that this is a ridiculously exaggerated example, but that is what it's like to be a 5. You're just being you, and people have a problem with it. Must be awful to feel like just being you, people are always going to have a problem with it. They're projecting shit on you that doesn't even pertain to who you are as a person. People really are never going to know who a 5 really is, because it's what my thoughts are of who you are, right? People are never going to know you at the deepest level. So what's interesting about this is, so people expect a lot of you. And I would say that rings true with your mom and that family. I wonder if your sisters have a 5 inside of their chart, to see if that expectation was put onto them like it was to you. Not gonna lie, there's high expectations from me. As a bestie, you're fucking hilarious, you know? I expect you to be funny. And, you know, that's me expecting something from you. And, you know, that's nothing that I should ever have to project onto you. So it's interesting knowing that you're a 5. And now I can understand that I shouldn't project any of what I expect of you on you, because you're just, you know, you're going to respond to life, and that's going to be beautiful, and that's going to be who you are. So let's talk about this again. You're 3-5. You're here to go through trial and error and bump into things. But people recognize, people are just going to shit on you for just being you. And then you're going to be bumping into things. Imagine the pain that this person could have gone through regarding outsider people pressuring shit down onto this person. And it was natural for them to be seen making errors. They are a person who is supposed to be making errors in life, and people are making them feel like a piece of crap because of it. It's not right. You know, nothing is your fault of how the world perceives you, my love, at all. You are perfect the way you are. You don't need to change anything about who you are. We're going to move on to some different brain candy. Frustration. All right, let's talk about frustration. Where are you frustrated in life? Now, I'm talking to everybody here. 70% of the world, imagine 70% of the world's frustrated being not self. So, if you're a manifestor, you're going to be angry. If you're a projector, you're going to be bitter, etc. So, the not self theme, take a look at your not self theme. Whoever's watching this, what is this energy that's here? Frustration, anger. Why are you trying to stifle that? Why are you trying to hide it? Why are you trying to get rid of it as if it's something that shouldn't be in your life? Frustration in the human design industry means that something needs to change and your body is telling you something's not right. Why are you frustrated? Just because you actually entered into an agreement correctly by saying, maybe frustration is eventually going to tell you that something needs to change or end. So, frustration. Where are you frustrated in life? What needs to change? What needs to happen in order for this frustration to possibly change? Now, how can you do that? You can start by responding to life, saying and and you'll see that a lot of your frustrations in life start to melt away, and it's beautiful. So once again, where are you frustrated in life? It doesn't mean that you have to quit something or start something. It just means that something has to change, because remember, you could have entered the agreement correctly, but maybe it's not correct for you anymore. What's important for you to do is to understand, once again, your and in the instantaneous moment for you is very powerful, very healthy for you. Now, just because you respond in the moment to doing something, it doesn't mean that you need to manifest it right now, because you're not a manifester and you have absolutely no energy to be a manifester. You need to wait until the proper time is right in order for you to externalize it. Because if we look right there at your throat, love, you have absolutely no energy, and that's the manifestation energy. Now, I'm not pulling any stabs at you because I have the same exact type of energy around the throat. Absolutely no manifestation energy. But let's talk about some of the things that we might be able to see here. And I have the same undefined centers, so I resonate deeply with all of the things I'm about to say. And as you can see, I'm quite excited to start to tell you. Now, this is open, which means that in your not self-expression, so let's just say that you've decided to do the opposite of what your energy told you to do. I can find myself in this particular spot here, avoiding confrontation and truth. So this is where we might find ourselves being the yes man, so that we don't, rock the boat. Or this is where, so I hate going to like woman type parties, such as like bachelorette, unless it's my bestie. I don't like going to bachelorette parties, wedding showers. I don't like baby showers. I try to avoid them. Why? Because people are going to be asking me questions that really irk me. When are you going to have your baby? When are you going to get married? When's your house going to be built? Fuck off. It doesn't matter. I know you're just trying to make conversation, but this shit don't matter to me. And it's literally been plaguing me my whole life that I just avoid the friggin' situations now. Or this is where we could tell little white lies. Like, is that a nice haircut that I got now? Yeah, even though it's ugly, just so we don't hurt the person's feelings. This is where that manipulation of truth can happen here. And I found myself not self a lot here. Why are we talking about the not self? It's so that you can recognize when you're not being you, so you can bring yourself back to your and I want to go up here because I want to spend a few moments here. With your head wide open, you have the capability of not knowing what to find interesting. You have the capability of trying to answer everybody's questions that don't matter to you. So you might find yourself a lot here in your head. And as my bestie, I already know that you do. But the thing is that you spend a lot of time in your head, and there's this one center here that wants to express itself. And this is your communication of your stories. So what's interesting is that you literally have like one set of energy in all of this. So maybe your head is trying really, 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 really hard to get rid of this energy because it's the only one. So once again, you might find yourself going down the spiral of TikTok. You might find yourself doing that on YouTube. You and I both, we go down the spiral of just binge watching Netflix TV shows in the background because we don't really know what to find interesting at this particular moment, because it's not like that dating show was interesting. That was disgusting, man. Oh, God. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Mady actually has this wide open, my fiance. I have this undefined as well. 70% of the world has their head open or undefined. So it's most likely that you'll resonate with what I'm about to say. So we have our head undefined. I wonder if everybody recognizes that about you and says, I bet if Besty doesn't have the answers to this question, she will find them. She sure will find them. So, people might come to her and ask her, what time is it? What's the weather outside? And just so that she can relieve the pressure on her head, she goes and checks her phone and tells them the time, tells them this could also be, where's my keys? I don't know where your fucking keys are. You're the one who touched them last. You go find them. But, in her not self, just so she can stop thinking about where those keys might be, she might go find them as well. So she might find herself partaking in a lot of energy that doesn't even matter to her. Now, let's talk about it in a group situation. You're listening intently to the person who's speaking, and you are kind of like taking mental notes. You're not saying anything because you're responding to not saying anything. But because you have your phone in your hand, because you don't have your purse, someone in the group is like, yo, what time is it? What's the weather? And do you have enough money to go and do this adventure that this person's talking about? And you're like, dude, I just want to listen to the details. But you might find yourself, seeing if the weather might be correct, seeing what time it actually is, and actually going into your bank while this person's still talking to see if you have the amount of money to partake in the thing that you want to partake in. But you missed a lot of the details, and now you got to spend more time asking questions. What was that detail that I missed? Just because someone derailed you, asking questions that don't matter. Because what really mattered to you in the moment was you listening to that person. So although all the people in the group mattered to you and their questions mattered to you, it derailed you answering their questions. Those questions truly shouldn't have mattered to you, and you should stop answering questions like that. So for example, I'm on my computer. We all know there's a fucking time down on the corner of the computer, and my son would be like, what time is it? And he's standing in the middle of the room, and I'm like, I don't know. What time is it? Go to the stove and check it. Guess who stopped asking what time it was? Very quickly. Him. So, or I literally could have my phone open looking at the weather, but I'm doing something else on my phone, and they could be asking about the weather and be like, I don't know what temperature it is right now. You check. Because you guys know me. As soon as my attention is derailed, it is derailed. So I need to keep my focus. So this may also be where we can find people. You moved to a desk job, and I don't know how that desk job got, but I wonder if you ended up doing work for people that you shouldn't have been doing, because this is where that happens. Imagine that you want to avoid not rocking the boat on top of, not knowing when to say no regarding your brain kind of idea. You got to respond to doing your job. You're like, well, I'm already at work. Okay. Here's an example. I used to work at a shipping company, and we all transitioned into new portfolios. For 2 weeks, I allowed people to ask me questions that they should have known the answer to, and I helped them through it. But after 2 weeks, I'm like, listen, buds, You need to know your job. This ain't my job. My customers are being, or sorry, my customers are lacking because you can't do your job. So at some point, I had to be like, stop taking advantage of the fact that I know everything about this job and learn it for yourself. And I would walk them through it at that point. Here, this is, I have an example, personal example for myself here. I have this open too. This is where I was humiliated and because of something I said, and I vowed to myself that I would never speak again unless I knew I had fact to back it up. That was grade 8. This was before you knew me. I said something in front of 2 people and I humiliated myself. So I vowed I would never speak unless I knew fact. And that's rigidity inside the center. This is very not self. So when I would raise my hand and the teacher would be like, yo, I didn't hear you. Could you repeat it again? I'd be like, nope, I ain't being humiliated. Nope. So like, this is my I don't repeat myself came into play. My strategy wasn't necessarily I'm only going to speak when I know fact just so I can look, just so that everybody can think I'm the smartest person around. No. What I did it for was I don't want to be hurt emotionally, so the only way I'm going to speak is if I know fact. So I didn't want to be humiliated anymore, so I just didn't speak. And I still remember in grade 11 physics, someone's like, you're so smart. And I'm just like, no, I'm not, dude, at all. I'm not at all. So we could find the opposite of this, and this example is coming from another bestie that you know of. Not the one in the group chat, but this is another bestie. They talk about how they were in the middle of a sentence and talking to their hubby about the thing that they were so excited about. And instead of saying the word onion, she said it kind of French with a G, onion, onion. And what he did was go, whoa, 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 wifey, stop. He actually took out a whiteboard, wrote down the word onion in English, because we all know, if you're a French speaker, that onion with a G is how it's spelled. She knew what she was saying. She's English. She is also part French, so she chose to say onion, right? So he actually derailed her story by stopping her, pulling out a freaking whiteboard, writing it down on the board, and being like, I know how to say onion. I am going to prove I know. Because he, although he was doing it out of a gesture of kindness because he doesn't want his wife to look like an idiot out in public, it's quite offensive. We didn't ask to be corrected. I chose to say it that way. And you are derailing my conversation. It's quite offensive, So people can try in this center to prove that they know. Know what? I don't know. But you can find that I've come to comforts or to come to grips with this center myself because, it's like the Tragically Hip song. It says, I only know what I know. And that's all I know. What is that? Sure isn't a lot because I didn't take politics in high school. I don't know anything about theology. I don't know anything about world news. I don't know anything about science. Like, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about, and that's okay with me. I'm okay with that. Before we go down here and talk about this last one here, I'm going to talk about the defined centers. So you have a fixed way of identifying with love, direction, and identity in life. You have a fixed way of understanding what's healthy for you or not. You have a fixed way of understanding timing and pressure and adrenaline in life. You have a fixed way of understanding of knowing when enough's enough. And you have a fixed way of accessing your willpower. Let's go back to this center. I like to talk about this center because I have it wide open like this. This is quite the rare thing, so we hear, but I have it wide open. And you'll see that our other bestie almost has it wide open here. So the other guy that I talk to on a regular basis has it wide open, which is quite unique. So what can I say about this center that's going to make it not talk about it for 80 hours? So you don't have any energy here. No direct access to the energy here. What does that mean? You're not a manifester. I'm not a manifester. That means that even though we can instantaneously respond to something, it doesn't mean that we can instantaneously bring it out to the world. Now, 70% of the world are conditioned as generators to be manifestors, but we don't have any energy at all to be a manifester. We even see it in brand names. Just do it. You know? Go out there and get it. Accomplish it, manifest it. And then we fail because we try to instantaneously manifest it, and then we get all, saddened in ourselves that we weren't able to accomplish it because we were forced to be something that we're not. So the pressure of going out there and doing it, you can feel it if you want to, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you got to do it. Remember, you're here to respond instantaneously to the things that you're here to respond to. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to bring it out into the world instantaneously. So, for example, I want to make my own deck of cards. I've responded to it and I still want to do it, but it's still not proper timing to manifest it, and I can understand why. It would have turned out to be shit if I still would have done it up until this point. So, I'm glad that I haven't manifested it yet. So, what's interesting is that the only other thing that I'm going to say about this sentence is how we act in a group. So you have no energy here. You'll see this in me because I'm sure that you have done this with me. We're at a party, I don't have a drink in my hand, and people come up to me like, oh, are you okay? Do you want a drink? What do you need? What do you want? Are you satisfied? Are you comfortable? I'll be like, yes, give me a drink. So you'll notice now, Bestie, that I always have a drink in my hand, but it's always water, so that people don't feel like they have to force, comfort onto me. And this is kind of where it is. People see me, so people see you as well. On top of being a 5, people see you, and this is where they see you. Now, a not self-expression of this center, I experienced it, is not wanting to be seen at all, or taking extra steps to be seen. Now, in high school, I used to giggle way beyond the point that it was no longer funny. Or when you met me, I was wearing pretty much this sweatshirt, sweatpants, but that's not how I dress on a regular basis anymore. This is like my not seen outfit, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. So that actually comes from this particular center. And when we're talking about this center, we're talking about how, once again, we don't have the energy here to manifest, or the juicy energy here. So let's just say that you are at a party and you're quiet. How many people actually talk to you? They're like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you talking? Let me ask you a million questions. So when a person has this type of energy, no words is 1,000 words. And another opposite of this expression is, let's just say we're in a group of friends and you want to initiate, which means manifest, you want to initiate a conversation about something. But 4 seconds in, you realize people are looking away. They're looking at the time on their watch. They're going in their purse, grabbing their phone. They got something in their back pocket they just pulled out. If you try to initiate a conversation that wasn't started, that's probably what you're going to get as a response from the crowd is, we can't hear you. What's interesting is that if you are inside a group and conversation is going on and you're literally like, I can't not hold on to what I need to say anymore. And you're like, verbal diarrhea. People may respond to that a little bit better if you responded to entering into a conversation and not initiating it. I know that when I initiate conversation, it's awful. People are like, people's eyes glaze over. It's awful. When I'm in the middle of a conversation and if I try to initiate something different, people's eyes glaze over. Doesn't work. So people don't listen to me unless they ask me what I want to say. You're like, well, you're a streamer. How are you externalizing shit if you have no energy there? I responded to being a streamer. Never in my life would I have externalized the fact that I want to be a streamer, and this is one of my besties here, and she would agree with that. I responded to being a streamer. And some days you'll understand that, for example, 2 or 3 days ago, my voice just sounded messed up. But I didn't feel sick. That's just my voice being like, yo, you don't have any energy left. It's time for you to stop talking, you know? I recognize my energy and its capabilities in my throat. That's what she said. And on the sexual side, I'm going to totally talk to you privately to see some things about this center. Oh, God. Yeah. So that is our human design overview. This overview was quite long, but I felt much more comfortable doing it this way compared to the other way. Once again, I am not a professional analyst. I'm 6 months away from being a professional analyst.